Good morning. Happy Friday. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of writing, but you're going to be doing the writing actually in the PowerPoint. So it's not going to be like last week where you had to kind of do more of a formal essay. So hint, whenever you see a green space, that means that you are going to write in that green space. So today you'll continue gathering the evidence you need to support your argument by refuting a counterclaim to make your claim even more effective. Think back to the work you did a couple of weeks ago on argumentative writing to help you today. You will use all of the evidence you've gathered to draft a well-organized argumentative essay that uses your strong claim as a clear focus, strong evidence that supports your claim, and raises, then refutes, a counterclaim. So we've actually talked about counterclaim a couple of times in class, so this should not be unfamiliar to you, but it might be something that you might have forgotten about, but it's okay because you're going to practice it today. So the first thing you're going to do, let me move my face away. The first thing you're going to do is use the other claim to present in our lesson yesterday, presented in our lesson yesterday as a possible counter for your argument. Then you're going to work to refute the counterclaim to make your chosen argument more effective. Then you're going to draft a well-organized 3 or 4 paragraph essay that introduces your claim, supports it, refutes the counterclaim, and concludes your argument. If you need the translated directions, they are right here for you. All you need to do is click on them and they will pop right up. Okay. So your resources. As you gather evidence for your argument, you'll want to rely heavily on both of the informational texts we focused on this week, the Kent text and the Obama proclamation. Feel free to use information from the videos and background articles we read and viewed regarding the Triangle Factory fire if needed. Okay. So we worked with argument writing during the week of May 4th and will continue to practice supporting the claim as well as refuting a counterclaim. Use any of the strategies that from that experience that you found helpful as you form your argument today. My gosh, Friday. All right, so let's take a look back at the 2 counterclaims that you looked at yesterday. So yesterday you selected your claim from 2 options you felt most strongly about, and you gathered evidence to support both. Today you'll use that evidence to complete a full essay. So this is what you did yesterday. You should already have it saved from yesterday. All you need to really do is go back, look at it, and copy and paste all the information. All right, so refuting counterclaims, the rebuttal. Remember, when writing a good argument, it isn't enough to simply support your claim. You have to consider what someone would say back to you to try and prove you wrong, the counterclaim. And when you think you know what it is, you have to be ready with more evidence about why they are wrong and you are still right. So basically the whole point of a counterclaim is for you to prepare yourself to fight back, essentially. So if you've ever had an argument with somebody in person before and it's something that you feel like you were very knowledgeable about, and they seemed to be knowledgeable about the other side of the argument, it would be kind of a situation where you're both kind of fighting back with each other because you both have a lot of evidence and knowledge on the topic. So if the person were to say something back to you, you know exactly what to say to go against what they have to say. Okay, so this is called refuting or rebutting the counterclaim. So when refuting a counterclaim with a rebuttal, you can use some key signaling phrases. So counterclaim signals. This is where it's saying signals, it basically means like sentence starters. So a common argument against this is, although some may argue that, opponents would argue, and while it may be true that. And then your rebuttal, which would be your continuation of the sentence, would say, however, when you look at the evidence, it becomes clear that, and then you're going to put your counterclaim. The evidence clearly shows that. You're going to put your counterclaim. Nevertheless, let me move my face. Nevertheless, the evidence overwhelmingly supports, and then you're going to put your counterclaim, and then this evidence is not nearly as clear as, and then you would put your counterclaim there. The last one, I'm not sure I'm fond of the last one. I don't know if I like the wording here, but if you don't like any of these examples, you can click here and you will get a bunch of different examples. Okay. Remember, the links here that are giving you certain resources are not just things for you to click past. They're very helpful. So in order for you to kind of present your best work, I think every resource that you are given should be looked at in the very least. Otherwise, you can like fully look at it and read through it and study it. But at the very least, it should be clicked on and looked at. All right, so let's practice. The claim: remote learning should be an option for all students even after schools reopen. The counterclaim and rebuttal: many will argue that traditional schooling provides far more opportunity for students than remote learning. However, based on current student feedback and participation, this evidence does not hold up. Students are just as engaged, and some even prefer the freedom remote learning gives them. So you are going to use these two, the claim and the counterclaim, and you are going to fill in the boxes here with what part is the counterclaim and what part is the rebuttal. Okay, so you're looking mostly at this part, the counterclaim and rebuttal, and you're going to separate them into the two. So if you notice, these sentence starters, you may or may not be seeing them in here as well. Okay, so which key phrases signaled the counterclaim and rebuttal? Type them in the provided spaces. So you're taking the phrases that you see here and you're typing them into whichever one is used in this little paragraph. All right, so now you'll use the claim you did not select as the counterclaim for your argument. So if you chose the one for outrage, you're now going to be using for this activity specifically the one for uplifting, and then vice versa. So choose the strongest example of text evidence from slide 5 that supports the counterclaim. Copy and paste the counterclaim and support it below. So yesterday you provided evidence for both claims, right? So for today, you are going to use the evidence that you provided for the other claim to your advantage. So counterclaim. Your counterclaim from yesterday is the other claim that you did not choose. And then support. That is going to be one piece of evidence that you gave yesterday that you did not use because you chose the other claim. So now you will write the rebuttal in the space below. Explain to the reader that even though the counterclaim is supported by the example, your claim is stronger. Be sure to select your best proof so you can make your argument stick. Add your rebuttal below and use one of the signals from slide 7 to help if needed. Okay, so you're going to put the counterclaim, which is the opposite claim of what you chose yesterday. You're going to choose the support or the evidence that you find is the strongest for the counterclaim, and then you're going to fight against that counterclaim while it has supporting evidence. So if you didn't choose the counterclaim, well, obviously you didn't choose the counterclaim that you're putting in this slide today, right? So there must be a reason why the other argument, in your opinion, was stronger. That's where you're going to explain in here. All right. So over the next few slides, you will work to organize your claims, evidence, and counterclaim into a 3 or 4 paragraph essay. Take a look at the rubric below to show that you should, or to know what you should be including in your work. So this is one of the PSSA argument scoring guidelines. This is the scoring guidelines for a 4. Usually when I show you this, it has 4, 3, 2, 1, but they're just showing you 4 here just so you can kind of understand what a 4 needs to have, so you can look at that and compare your own writing. So you're going to write your introduction in the box here. Be sure to include your claim within your introduction and make sure your readers can understand your purpose for writing. So obviously this form of writing that we've been doing is a little different than what we're used to doing with more traditional Peel's structure, but essentially it's the same. Your introduction should be including the same things. It should include your main point. It should have a short summary of the body paragraphs. In this case, it only needs to be 1 or 2 body paragraphs, depending on how much you want to write. And then you'll move on to the next body paragraph after that. So your introduction should be pretty similar to what you're used to writing. The only difference here is that we're doing 3 or 4 paragraphs instead of our traditional 5. And the formal structure of it is going to stay the same. You know I love to say it. Your writing needs to be a lawyer with a suit and a tie in a courtroom. Today especially because you're doing argument writing. So obviously the lawyer analogy that I use so often really works here. Then the next thing you're going to do is craft 1 or 2 body paragraphs that support your claim. Be sure to use the good evidence and reasoning you've gathered and write clear sentences that link those ideas together using strong transitions, appropriate punctuation, and commanding voice. So again, this should be very similar to what you're used to as far as Peel's structure within your paragraphs, but the number of paragraphs is just changing. So keep your Peel structure, use it to your advantage, formal style, no I, me, we, us, or you, especially in argumentative writing, because the second somebody hears the word I in argumentative writing, they assume that it's now an opinion and the argument gets thrown out. Okay, so then finally wrap up your argument by presenting the counterclaim and refuting it. So this is your conclusion where you're presenting your counterclaim. When we did an argumentative essay in class, this is what we did as well. We kept that conclusion as the part where you give the counterclaim. A great way to end your essay is with one final piece of evidence that you feel best supports your overall argument. The conclusion is where you want to be sure you've gotten the reader to see your side of things. So make it count. The conclusion is going to be that mic drop moment where you present your counterclaim. You use this information that you gathered. This should be part of your concluding paragraph. You're going to use that information and you're going to refute or rebuttal the other side of the argument. All right, so that is it for today. I will, live questions, please use that document. Attendance is mandatory. And that's it. I'll see you later.